First of all, I'd like to say thanks to everybody for joining us. I know it's this time there are a lot of webinars and media and content being distributed out at the moment, so everybody's time is appreciated. Just to kick off, my name is Clyde Palmer. I'm the business development consultant for Orbis. I recently joined the business back in March of this year. My background stems from South Africa, where I fill the role as a technical sales consultant for ERP software house. March was a very tough time. So I must admit, I'm extremely proud to be a part of the team here at Computime. I've really fitted in neatly due to a lot of thanks going out to both colleagues and peers who have accepted me, but are not only accepting, but are dynamic and forward-thinking and always looking to provide the best solution to our customers, and it gives me such pride to see that happening. So I'd also like to introduce Angelo. Angelo Pickard is one of our solutions lead. He's played a pivotal role in the development of Orbis DSD. Angelo has extensive knowledge when it comes to Acumatica, and not only Acumatica, but also the needs of our customers. He has the unique ability to break down a problem to infinite detail, and this skill, along with Angelo's passion for providing clients with solutions, is one of the many reasons why he's an invaluable team member when it comes to the development and the future of Orbis DSD. Orbis DSD is an incredible product. I mean, I've only been a part of the team for the last 3 and a bit months, but it's really a powerful tool and one that offers businesses in the distribution sector, not only DSD but distribution, a lot of visibility and the right tools and visibility into what's happening actual distribution cycles. So I look forward to see how we can add value to your customers and to your customers and your business, providing a solution that's rock solid and future proof. Kick this off. So just a quick agenda. I'm going to do a quick introduction to Computime and Orbis, introduction to the Orbis DSD. Angelo will then take us through a brief demonstration on the Orbis DSD program, and then we can just touch on some partnering models which we have, as well as some questions and feedback. Computime. So Computime Software is a gold certified Acumatica VAR. We've been in this position since 2015, and we've also been developing on the XRP platform since 2015. So we have extensive resources when it comes to developing on the XRP platform. Orbis DSD was born through the DSD needs of our existing customers. We had a number of requests from customers at a point in time when they were looking for a DSD solution. And essentially, they were looking for a tool, but not only a tool. They were looking for a tool that would assist them to manage and simplify their distribution needs. But they were also looking for something that would grow with their business. And at the time we went to the market, to the ISV market, even at this moment in time, I don't believe there are many ISVs out there that were able to assist. And this is how Orbis DSD was born. Computime has also currently has offices located in Europe, Malta, North Africa, and now with Orbis and DSD, we're looking to expand our footprint globally. Computime Software is also a member of the Computime Group. We've been in business for the last 40 odd years, I think if I'm correct, holding a really good reputation here in Malta. Orbis. So Orbis is our range of ISV add-ons. DSD Route Accounting and Planning is our first ISV product, which is developed seamlessly on the Acumatica XRP platform, using all the same security and the same logarithm, same screen sets as standard Acumatica, which offers a lot of value to customers and VARs alike in selling the product and providing a solution for customers. As I mentioned earlier, this product was developed this product's development, should I say, was driven by a couple of our existing customers. So, so in that, it's customer validated and Acumatica certified. The ERP distribution industry is dominated at the moment by legacy software. There are not too many cloud-based ERP systems which offer the functionality found in Acumatica or Orbis DSD, for instance. Orbis DSD presents you with an opportunity. It's an opportunity where, as a VAR, you can approach new and existing customers in the distribution sector or DSD sector with a solution that's built seamlessly into the XRP platform of Acumatica. And as I said, it's not only distribution sector. This is also DSD. It's pharma, it's hardware, it's construction, FMCG kind of products, food and beverage industry. So there's many different industries that Orbis really sits neatly into. We currently have two sites that are live on the system. We have a third one that will be going live in the coming weeks. And I've had a number of different customers at this moment in time in the pipeline. These, as I'm sure you can understand and appreciate, businesses at the moment are focused. There's a lot of focus on internal distribution methods, the efficiency and effectiveness of these processes, and making sure that stock is out of the stores and into the customer's hands as quickly and as efficiently as possible. The pedigree of our customers that we currently have, including a number of high-level international brands, for instance, Tinder, Mars Bar, Bacardi. So there's a lot of big names that's behind all this. For distribution or warehouse managers having to manage hundreds of orders daily, your logistics operation can become a real challenge. Route deliveries, pickups, urgent deliveries, returns management, especially this during peak times of the day, first thing in the morning, last thing in the afternoon. A DSD solution is a tool which businesses require in order to reduce the errors, assist with managing the distribution cycle effectively, but also provide management with visibility. Not only management, but also your store staff with visibility on what's actually happening at that moment in time. So this is our main dashboard, and this dashboard really this is the flow of the DSD solution. So it really starts at the order taking phase, then we move on to the route dispatching, the route reconciliation, and finally the route accounting. Order taking, here we interface with an SFA if there's a requirement for Salesforce agent, where it could be Salesforce, it could be Peppery, it could be a number of different applications or Salesforce engines that are out there. And this just assists a salesman depending on the strategy of the business in generating sales. If the sales are driven from a salesman going to sites and punching in the orders like that on the mobile platform, or if it's driven by the actual order coming through from the customer itself. So there's different ways that we can assist the business with building that pipeline into the system. From there, we also do a number of different credit hold checks, out of balance, and those are all nice batched systems where you're able to go and group a number of and release a number of credit hold transactions. Once that process is done, we may move on to the route dispatching phase. And here, this is the real intelligent part about all this. And where a lot of neat functionality takes place is where we take the shipments, we are able then to create loads, and from the loads, base those loads on the product classification, the route that's been assigned, and essentially the end customer. When I talk about the product classification, that could be a couple of different variables. It could be, if we're talking food and beverage, it could be chilled, frozen, ambient. Or if we're talking construction, it could be based on the size or the weight component that the vehicle needs. Maybe the trucks need a crane, maybe it doesn't need a crane, and those kind of components. So we might just need to think a little bit more forward here and see how we can change that product classification for the needs of the actual customer itself. Moving forward, we go then to print our pick lists, to be picked, and then also weighted picking is available within the system, where if your UAM is linked on weight, that the final check there before it gets loaded onto the vehicle will be to confirm that the labels and the product going out is the correct weight. We then print off your invoices and all the relevant delivery documents, and out the vehicles go. Now we're able to track the driver, the vehicle, what products on the vehicle, and the different stops that the vehicle's got to go to. So this is a really powerful screen, and provides a lot of visibility. Angelo will spend quite a bit of time on this going through in the demonstration. I just wanted to give you a quick little snapshot. Once we follow on from that, we're going to route reconciliation and route accounting, and that's where we do all the reconciliation of the actual of stock and of cash. So if the vehicles are out and collecting cash, the system's got that all built in, and it's all in batch process. We don't have to do one by one by one. Another neat feature on the payment reconciliation side is if there are any returns or anything, we automatically link that to the original invoice, and the credit note or the return note is then linked automatically, and it's not a long, lengthy process. It's nice and simple, literally in one screen. Once again, Angelo will give you a visual into how that all comes together. And this is one of our dashboards. So this is a nice, neat dashboard for the warehouse manager to get a quick snapshot on what's going on, what orders still need to be produced, what route deliveries haven't been assigned, what route deliveries are open. And once again, still giving a visual into actual distribution process flow on the right-hand side. Without much, I don't want to spend too much time on talking through the product. I'd rather let Angelo give you a visual into seeing how the actual application works. And I look forward to hearing some of your comments. If you've got any questions, please feel free to drop me a chat, and we will answer them as we go along. Angela, do you want to take over?
Okay, yes, I'm going to share the screen quickly. Okay. All right. Okay, can you see my screen? There's the Orbis workflow.
Yes, I can.
Okay, very good. So, thanks, Clyde. I want to start by, first of all, putting into perspective the application, how it can work, and for what type of sectors. There are a number of sectors which can benefit from this application. However, the most important thing, assume that the prospect or client or whoever has a fleet of vehicles, and he needs to, on a daily basis, load these vehicles and distribute it to its outlets, directly to the outlets. It can be, for example, in the food industry, mom and pops, supermarkets, hypermarkets, mini markets, etc., etc. And these number of fleets, this fleet needs to be managed on a daily basis, loading on a daily basis the items to be sold, and then distributed to the actual outlets, and then the drivers, the delivery drivers, go back and need to reconcile both the load and also any cash if it is collected, any payment if it is collected. What we did was, as Clyde mentioned, we had some prospects. Today they are our clients, and we built this. We built this enhancement. It's an enhancement. It is built on Acumatica platform, on the XRP platform, and what it does, it enhances the standard application of Acumatica. So we did not reinvent the wheel. What we did, we extended the processes. We created a lot of processing screens so as to make life easier for the people using the application. Imagine that here we are dealing, for example, to clients, to customers who receive, and they need to distribute around, one of them 300, 400 orders per day, the other one around 500, 600 orders per day. Obviously, to manage all those orders, you need to have functionality which does things in bulk and quickly. So, going back to the screen, to my screen, focusing on the actual application, as soon as we install Orbis, okay, a new menu will show, and this menu will show all the features, all the additional features which we are using to enhance the product. Obviously, our main dashboard is the process flow, which is the Orbis distribution flow, And today what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 1st of May and 4th of May, 1st of May as my order day, and 4th of May as my delivery day, to show you the components that we have built. What we did first initially is we created what we call a customer request. It is very similar to a sales order request or to a sales order screen. However, we created this screen for the reason that we wanted to be impartial when it comes to SFA. So whatever SFA the client is using, then all we need to do is we need to integrate to the screen, to the customer request, and then from here onwards, we know exactly what we need to do. So what we do here is we have a customer request, which is very similar to a sales order, but the customer request has a number of additional features, which will then make use when we're converting a customer request into a sales order. So a customer request will take all the items or all the lines coming from an order request, from the SFA, okay, whatever classification it has, whatever, it doesn't matter if the customer is on hold, it is on credit hold, if the items are out of stock, etc., etc. Okay, the system. So the first thing, we have the external reference to the actual SFA, and we pick all this information. And if this order is also paid, we have also a payments tab, whereby even the payments come in on the same customer request. Once we receive those customer requests on a daily basis, okay, once we receive those customer requests, then what we do, we check if there is if they are on credit hold, and we included a processing screen whereby you can release the credit hold or you can cancel the requests. We have also used the Acumatica standard functionality of the side panel, so that we know we have more information and we can see the customer requests immediately on the side panel. And once we release the customer request from credit hold, then we can check if all our items are in stock or if they are out of stock. Once again here, what we are doing, so for example, I say from the 1st to the 4th of May, we know exactly which items have been ordered, the availability, the amount of ordered, and if they are out of stock. If they're out of stock, it will show on this tab. In my case, I do not have any out of stock. However, what we did as well, we used the side panel so that if I, for example, look at an item, okay, I can immediately use the side panel to see which orders, okay, which orders are ordering this this item, so that immediately I can, if I have an issue, I can immediately go on each and every order. There's a hyperlink to the order. I can go on the order and decide if I am going to reduce the quantity or if I'm going to hold the order, and so on and so forth, to make sure that the orders that have been ordered, either I stop them or I process them, or I process them via the standard Acumatica functionality. So once I'm happy with credit hold and with out of stock, then I proceed to create the shipments. Creating the shipments, although we are using our own screen, it is a very similar screen to Acumatica. However, we added some additional functionality. First of all, to decide if I want to see my orders by order date or by shipment date, okay, and based on this selection, the system will filter out the orders that I want to process and to convert them into shipments, okay. Besides that, we have additional functionality, and we can create the shipments or delete the orders, and also we can decide to overwrite the shipment, the requested shipment date, with a date which we decide. So for example, I'm going to say that anything which has been ordered with a requested date of 1st, I'm going to deliver it on the 4th. So that when I process my sales orders, the shipments being created will be created with a shipment date of the 4th of May. Okay, so all these, and we also have selection criteria. We can also include multiple storage classifications, okay, and we can also do additional filters. That is why we created our own processing screen here. So we are using behind the scenes, we are using the standard Acumatica functionality. However, we're giving more power to the user so that from one screen he can he can filter, he can create, he can change everything from one screen. And then the burden of going through the documents and doing all these changes, we are doing it just by pressing a process. So we're removing the burden from the user and putting that all automated steps behind the scenes. Okay. Once we create the shipments, then so this process will create the actual shipments and allocate the items if items needs to be allocated. If items, for example, in the food industry, all items or most of the items will have a lot number and also an expiry date. So based on the setup of the item, okay, we do the allocation automatically as well. Once again, we use standard functionality to do the allocation so that items are allocated as soon as the shipment is created. So once all the shipments have been created, then we need to start doing what we call the route planning. Now, and this is very important. So let us assume that I now am going to deliver on the 4th of May. So the system will change the delivery date based on the business date that I put here. I can change it, obviously, the date. And the system will show me a split screen. Okay. Here, and this is very important, right now, we're not automating or doing any intelligent route planning. What we are doing is providing the tools so that the warehouse person or dispatcher can quickly, okay, create loads and assign shipments in bulk to these loads. However, we're taking it one notch up. Why? Because here we are grouping the shipments, okay, based on the shipment date, based on the delivery route, and based on the storage classification. How do we calculate the shipment date? The shipment date can be overridden, but we are already calculating it based on what we call a delivery schedule. What we did, we extended the customer card, and I'm just going to show you the customer card. We extended the customer card and we added some additional features. First of all, the locations. So for each customer location, customer plus location, okay, we have added a number of fields which are important for our planning. One of them is the distribution zone. Okay, the distribution zone. So what we do, we group customers by what we call distribution zones. And besides distribution zone, we also group customers by delivery type. We can have route, delivery types, we can have bulk route, vans, bulk van, and collections. Okay. Also, we do other things, like, for example, we also configure each and every customer to decide if it's an individual pick or if it is a bulk pick, a route pick, etc., etc. Okay, because we have different picks. And we also have order priority. Okay, so that and delivery sequence, so that when we create and when we print the actual delivery documents, we use these also to sort and to classify the delivery documents. However, not only that, what we did as well, we created two different types of schedules. The first schedule is related to the sales rep schedule. So the schedule is used by the sales reps and by the SFA, so that the sales rep knows when he needs to visit these customers. And also we created what we call a delivery route, and based on the location and delivery route, okay, we have a whole schedule when we are going to deliver the items for these particular zones, based on these storage classifications, sorry. And we also included an exception, so that if there's a week which is going to be exception, we're going to change the visit dates, the delivery dates, we can also pre-configure that in the system. Okay. Once we have set up the customers like that, then we can group the orders which originated for these customers. In fact, here I'm seeing a group for delivery route RO2A. I have a group of shipments, okay, grouped together, so that when I move these orders into a load, okay, so if I'm creating a load and moving these orders into a load, I can do that in bulk as well. Okay, so on the left-hand side, we see all the shipments which are not yet, okay, loaded on a truck and which are not yet assigned to a load. On the right-hand side, on the other hand, we'll see all the loads linked to vehicles, linked to drivers, okay? And we can see the shipments that are already assigned to those loads. And we can look at the status. For example, we have this load which is already reconciled, this load which is already shipped, this load is still in picking, okay? And I can create additional loads. I can create loads either automatically, because what it does, this auto-populate, is create empty loads based on the available vehicles, okay? Or I can create it manually just by selecting a vehicle. I can select the system defaults the default driver, but I can change the driver. I say create, and the system immediately creates a new load without any shipments yet assigned to it. To assign a shipment, it is very easy. Select the load from here, just highlight it, go on whatever group of shipments you want to assign, click assign, and the system will show you all the shipments that are going to be assigned to that load which you have selected. And you can either process all shipments or you can select and process. As soon as I select and process, those shipments that I have selected, okay, are moved from unassigned shipment. So here I can see that now the assigned the route, it was 14, now there are 11, and 3 shipments have been assigned to this particular load. Okay, then I click on the load and I can do a lot of tasks. I can assign it, I can unassign it from a load, I can move it to another load, I can recall it, I can add returns, I can also add helpers and pickers who are going to be assigned the task of picking the items for this load. Okay. Obviously, once I'm happy with the shipments that I'm going to pick, I can start the picking, okay? And as soon as I start the picking, the first thing I want to do is I want to generate the pick list, okay? And the system will allow me to generate the pick list. Let me just show you quickly the pick list, okay? And here, the system immediately, because it knows the customers, it also knows if it is going to pick using the wave pick, okay? Or if it is going, in this case, I have only wave picks. If I have individual picks, or if I have weighted picks, it will print additional documents, okay? And also what we are doing, we are playing around with the unit of measure, okay? So the system will give me which items I need to pick, which expiry dates I want to select when I'm picking them, and also if I want to pick them by cases, by packs, by eaches, these are different units of measure which I have pre-set up when I created the item. Okay, I know who is the picker, I know on which van they need to be loaded, and who is the driver that I need to load that load, that I need to assign that load. What we are doing a little bit more intelligent is we are, yes, giving warnings if the vehicle, for example, have multiple loads. If the vehicle, for example, I selected the wrong vehicle for the storage classification. So let's assume that I have selected a van which is ambient, but then I have shipments which need a refrigerated van. So in that case, the system will not stop me, but will give me warnings. Okay, and it also gives me warning if I exceed the volume and weight which I am assigning to that load. So if I selected a vehicle which allows up to 1,000 kilos, but then when I'm assigning the shipments, the system calculates that I exceeded that weight, obviously the system will give me warnings. Once again, we're not stopping anything, we are giving warnings right now. Okay. We can, those warnings, we can escalate them to errors then, and once it's an error, then the system will stop me. However, up to now, we are more dealing with warnings, and our clients wanted that it is more warnings, and then the dispatcher or the warehouse person who is managing this will manage this based on these warnings. Okay, as Clyde has mentioned, during picking, we can have either standard picking, which I showed you, or else weighted picking. Weighted picking, yes, in food and beverage, sometimes you need to pick by kilograms. So when you have a customer who ordered 2 kilos, but then the item which you're going to deliver is a weighted product, then you have to be very accurate when you come to what you're going to deliver if you are selling by weight. Because if instead of 2 kilos you are going to deliver 1.8 kilos, then you have to adjust the price accordingly. To do that, we created a screen. To do that much more quicker and more efficiently. So what we do with the screen is select the load. The system immediately shows me which shipments and which items need to be weighted. It also shows me the amount of weight that have been ordered that I'm going to ship. However, once I weigh those items, I can go on the item, change the quantity, change also the quantity pieces that I'm going to deliver, and I process it. What it does all the dirty work behind the scenes. What it did here from the shipment, it adjusted the quantity to be shipped, it recalculated the amount, the cost that I'm going to charge the client, and it also updated the sales order with the actual amount that is going to be shipped and what is left on the order which is not going to be shipped. Besides that, we can also print the labels, and this is very easy because on one screen you can update all those orders. Imagine not having this screen and having to go shipment by shipment, searching for which shipments has weighted picks, and then open that shipment, change that shipment, process that shipment, and doing that one by one. That is why we are presenting this on just one screen. That is how we do the shipment. One final thing that we do once we have picked the items and modified, we have also a modified shipment, which once again, we are doing this in bulk, so we can have the items here. That item, if I need to change them, I click on it. I can click on the navigation pane and immediately know which shipment numbers there are. Right now, what we have in version 1, because this is, in version 3.01, then I need to go in shipment and change them. In our next release, this will be a bulk process similar to the weighted pick. Once I finish from picking, when I'm finished with the picking, then I process the delivery documents. And once again, this is a bulk process where I can release the shipment, I can print the delivery documents, and in our case in Malta, we need also to print the invoice. I can print the invoice. I can do that as a bulk process from the screen for one load or for multiple loads for multiple employees, all on one screen. So I printed the documents, I give the documents to the driver, so the driver has loaded the vehicle, the documents has been printed, he takes the documents and goes on to deliver the goods. What we don't have in this release, but we're planning to have in future releases, is the proof of delivery. We don't have that as yet, we are working on it, we will have it in the future, hopefully in the foreseeable future, we will have the proof of delivery. What we then have already in Orbis DSD is then the route reconciliation. The route reconciliation is the driver is coming back to the warehouse. He delivered the product. So we do two things. We first we verify the documents. Clicking on this, we have a screen whereby each and every document has a barcode printed on it. And what he does is starts the reconciliation and scans all those documents, so that we verify that all documents that have been given to the driver are brought back by the driver. That is the first task that we do, and then we do a stock reconciliation. Stock reconciliation, first of all, we can go, let me go and find one which is already created, it's open, so that I can show you quickly how the stock reconciliation is done. So what we do, we create a new load reconciliation. We tell the system the driver and the date. The system will show me all the shipments and will show me if the shipments are reconciled, document verified. Here I'm seeing that I have two documents which have not been scanned yet, and I immediately tell the driver where are these documents. Once I verify through the scanning, as I mentioned earlier on, once I verified all those documents, then I can start reconciling the items. Reconciling the items means selecting that item and decide if it is okay, so it is reconciled, or if there are returns. Okay, if there are returns, as you know, it's quite a laborious work in Acumatica because you need to create an order of type return, then you need to convert it into a shipment of type receipt, okay, and then later on you have to create the credit memo. What we did here, from one screen, we are doing that all from one screen. So I select the line that I want to return, and I can decide if it's a partial return or a full return. So if it's a partial return, I click on the partial return, the system will show me the items on that shipment, and I just select and say what is the item, how much I'm going to return, and the reason code why I'm going to return it, if it's a damaged outlet, delivery, and so on and so forth. Okay, that's all I need to do and process it. As soon as I process it, the system will immediately create all those documents that I mentioned, okay, behind the scenes. So the user doesn't need to create those documents. Just to give you an example, before this session, I created a partial return, and the system immediately created the return for me and linked it to the actual shipment. If there's an invoice, it also moves on one step and creates also the credit memo immediately and links it to the sales invoice, so that when I do a payment reconciliation, I need to only reconcile the difference between the return and the original invoice. Okay, so that is what I can do. Besides doing a partial or a full return, I can do other things. I can park it to be picked up later on. I can recall it from parking. I can unverify a verified document. I can transfer it to another load. These are all features which I can do during the delivery road reconciliation. Once I reconciled all my shipments, okay, I can print their reports such as stock reconciliation report and the stock returns report. And finally, what I do as a last step is I click on the reconcile loads so that I can reconcile all loads. What it does, it creates the invoices if the invoices have not been created at an earlier stage, and it also creates any credit memos from the returns that I have processed earlier on. Okay, and it also changes the status of this reconciliation. Okay, and we do not do reconciliation load by load. We can if we want to, but we can do that also in bulk. So if one driver had 4 loads, deliver those 4 loads, and 3 wants to do a full reconciliation for all the loads, we do it all on one screen. Okay, and we also, by reconciling the stock, then we also flag the load, the reconciliation for the driver, so that then the driver can reconcile the payment. Okay, and reconciliation of payment is also done very simple. We created a screen, and this screen that we created here, okay, helps the cashiers to reconcile the payment for a driver. Okay, so here what we do is we have the same, let's say, scope of a cash till. So we have each and every cashier is linked to a cash office, is linked also to a cash till. We can have multiple cash offices, multiple cashier tills. Okay, so as soon as the cashier signs in, the cashier is linked to a cash office, is linked to a cash till, and that cash till is linked to a cash account. Okay, which is the cash till. Okay, so what the user does, what the cashier does, it selects the driver that it is going to reconcile. Okay, it selects the shipment date, and the system, if that shipment, if those loads are already stock reconciled, then it will allow the cashier to reconcile the payments. Okay, immediately the system splits all those shipments, all those invoices, it splits them, and it distinguishes between cash sales and credit sales. And for those lines which had a return, either a partial return or a full return, the system also has the credit notes linked to the actual invoice, to the actual document. In this case, for example, there was an amount, a document amount of 7125. However, the system is immediately giving a warning, a message that there's a credit memo, okay, with a balance, okay, and I can look at the credit memo, okay, which is also linked to that invoice, which has an amount of 2375, and the cashier knows that it needs to reconcile only the 4750, okay, for those cash sales. The system also immediately populates the payment amount field, and the cashier, all it needs to do, okay, the cashier doesn't need to create any payment documents. All it needs to do is fill in the payment amount, fill in the payment method, okay. If the payment method is not cash, but for example, it's a check, it needs to fill in the payment reference, the bank, if it's a cash, and if it is not a check, but it is a card, a payment card, and they fill in the payment card, 4-digit verification, and that's all they need to do. Okay, the system immediately starts populating the cash collection. Okay, so here we know what is the amount that needs to be the cash sales, what is being collected, and then the cashier fills in the cash amount received by the cashier. If the cash amount and the checks amount in total matches the collected cash amount that the cashier puts in here, then she can reconcile the full payment. If it doesn't match, then the cashier needs to take certain decisions. First of all, needs to either marks the payment a short payment, or else it needs to offset any differences by creating a debit adjustment on the driver. So the driver here, we're considering him as a customer as well, and any balance will reside on the driver. Once that is done, then the document can be reconciled. The reconciliation, okay, the reconciliation process, let me see if there's one which is open. Settled. Open. Do I have any open? Yes, here. Okay, this is in settlement. So all these things that I'm telling you, okay, the user can populate this. They need to, right now, there's a difference of 951. They need to populate these, which are the 951. Then they need to decide the amount of cash they actually, if there's cash, which is physical cash, they count the cash and put in that amount here. And the system, okay, sees if there's any difference, will give us any difference, and it tells me that it cannot process the difference if I don't either short payment or else I offset the driver difference. Okay, once I'm ready from that, I process the reconciliation. Processing the reconciliation behind the scenes will create the payment documents, will allocate those payment documents to the original invoice. All this is happening behind the scenes. Okay, so for the cashier, it's just one screen. All the rest of the documents, which are required by Acumatica, so what it does behind the scenes, it creates a payment, allocates to the invoice, releases the payment, processes the payment, and if the payment is fully allocated to the invoice, closes the payment, and also then if it is the invoice is fully allocated, closes the invoice. All these are happening just by when the user clicks process reconciliation. Okay, once the process reconciliation is done, then the final two steps are the actual bank and the actual end of day settlement, and if there's cash involved, it needs to be processed and it needs to be deposited in the bank. So first we do the end of day, okay, and the end of day is a summary of all the cashiers for each and every cash office, of all the cashiers, okay, and what has been collected as cash, as checks, other amounts, etc., etc. If there are unreleased amounts, the system will not allow the user to click to do the payments. Okay, so here I have cash till, the amounts that I was showing, and if there are unreleased amounts, the system will not allow me to close the day. Okay, and if all the cash has been collected and reconciled, then the system will allow me to close the day. Closing the day will trigger the process of a bank deposit. Okay, so here I have bank deposits, And the bank deposit will allow me, okay, let me find one, which has also checks so that I can show you. Okay, so the bank deposit will allow me to do two things. To first of all decide how much cash I'm going to transfer to the bank, and also which checks, check by check, I'm going to transfer to the bank. The system will then do two things. As soon as I say an action, okay, start bank deposit and release the bank deposit, it will allow me to print a deposit slip. Okay, and the deposit slip, obviously, it's configured based on the bank that I'm going to deposit the items. For example, here it's showing me the deposit slip, okay, the amounts and notes, but also it will group the checks based on the bank, and it will give me the amount of checks that are going to be deposited to the bank. Okay, so this is the kind of document that we print. However, besides printing those documents, we create two transactions. One of them is the standard transfer document from Acumatica. So we're calling here Acumatica to process the CA deposit, cash deposit. Okay, and we do that because we want also to keep track on each and every payment. Okay, each and every payment, and we need to keep track of the batch deposit and the bank deposit. Okay, and also besides that, we move any cash which is not transferred to the bank, we move it to the cash flow account. Okay, and we do that through a batch, a standard GL batch. Okay, and here I'm showing you the batch. The user does not do any of this. All the user does is press the action, release the bank deposit. And all these batches and deposits, they are all done by the system behind the scenes using the standard Acumatica functionality. Okay, so we are hiding all these tedious, imagine doing these tasks for 20, 30 drivers, okay, doing all these tasks, like, for example, creating payments one by one, processing a GL batch, processing a CA transfer. Instead of doing that, that is why we are presenting these screens, to do all this behind the scenes just from one screen. Okay, finally, and this is my final point here, what we do as well, we allow users to scan the document. So once the invoices or delivery documents are received, okay, they can bulk scan them and then click on this screen, whereby we immediately know the scanned documents. We click on attach documents, and what the system does, it goes through the scanned documents, because on each and every on each and every delivery document we have an OCR. It recognizes that OCR and knows exactly which invoice it needs to attach those scanned copies to, which invoice it needs to attach them, and automatically it attaches those the scanned documents to the related AR invoice, okay, or either invoice or shipment document, okay, depending on what is the delivery document, what it is have set up as delivery document. Okay, so that is the process that we flow on a daily basis. That is the process that the users use, okay, to be able to take all the orders being ordered by the clients, picking them from the warehouse, putting them on track, delivering them, and finally reconciling both the stock and the payments on a daily basis. Clyde, I will give you back my screen. I'm going to stop the sharing so that you can close off this session.
Thanks, Angela. Thanks so much for that detailed presentation. I think it gives us a real good insight as to what Orbis can do and what it's capable of. If there are any questions from anybody, please don't hesitate to ask. Drop us a little message and we'll respond accordingly, or we'll try to respond back to you on email or after the presentation. So, well, the next couple of things I wanted to touch on was just licensing and availability. I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I think we will explore this in the further discussions that we have with Orbis and DSD. But the licensing and availability of the product is on software as a service. or on product. The pricing side, we can go based on number of vehicles. And the availability on the system is right from back 2018 R1 to 2020 R1 now. So the system is constantly being developed and is priced really attractively in the market at the moment. Partnering models, there's a strategic partner, a referral partner. Strategic partner, we give you guys the tools to support your own customers, and we will assist with the implementation and development and, well, should I say implementation and pre-sales presentations, and then give you guys the tools to take it further on your own. From a referral perspective, if you don't have the skills internally or the resources internally, we can work out some kind of solution for you and agreement and contract with you to pass on referrals for your customers, and we'll we'll then take care of the implementation, but we'll still assist with the pre-sales and give you the tools to make those sales and to provide your clients with the solution that they currently need. So if there are any questions, please feel free to drop me a message. I haven't seen anything come up just yet, so I'm just going to check here again. No. Nothing at the moment. So with that in mind, I'd like to thank everybody for their time. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedules, as I'm sure they all are at the moment, especially with running from webinar to webinar and trying to manage people remotely. It's a challenge in its own. So from both Angelo and myself, thank you for your time. And I look forward to engaging with you in the days to come. If there's anything further that you require from me, please feel free to drop me an email. I did drop everybody an email this morning who was joining us this afternoon or today with regards to the presentation. But please feel free to reach out, and I'll also still be in touch in the coming days to see how I can assist. Thanks for your time. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you.
Stay safe. Bye-bye.